Hey, my narcissistic abuse family. This is week 2 of the quarantine. I'm trying really hard to keep on schedule with putting out videos. So this one will probably not come out till we're further into the quarantine, but I'm trying to stockpile some so I have a good supply so I don't get stuck with not having an opportunity to make a video, which is what I see happening often. So, all right, today I'm talking about when you have narcissistic parents, how we have this pervasive and enduring feeling of abandonment, of being alone. How many of you watching, you just feel alone all the time? It doesn't matter how many amazing people you're surrounded by now at this juncture in your life. In the critical years of our early childhood development, we were neglected, we were dismissed, we were taught to completely abandon our emotions and all senses of ourselves. That's a time when we are supposed to be egocentric. We're supposed to be little narcissists, actually. I say to my own children, children are narcissists. The whole world revolves around them, and we just live in it, right? They're supposed to be that way. They're learning how to integrate themselves into society, into other relationships. And when you provide these amazing little people with a nurturing, loving environment, they're able to establish confidence and healthy, not patterns, but healthy ways to interact and relate to others. So, when you're raised by a narcissist, you don't have any of this support. You're constantly being bashed, you're constantly being put down, brushed aside, and made to feel inferior because the narcissistic parent always comes first, always takes priority, and our needs are just a nuisance, essentially. So, something that I have been struggling with, and I'm inclined to think that most of us have this hurdle to overcome, is just this terrible feeling of being alone, of being abandoned. I have an amazing husband and we have an awesome relationship, but this is something that comes up on occasion. And it's just me being bristly, I guess, or me being having a rough exterior, or protecting myself, or being defensive. It's like his intentions are all good. He genuinely, unconditionally loves me, but sometimes he'll say or do something, and I'm like, really? Like, I come from our narcissist, we come from a place of negativity. That is how we were raised. It is just embedded in us. So, I don't know. Maybe other people in the world, I don't know. I can only speculate. But maybe people with healthy childhoods, amazing parents, healthy upbringings, maybe they come from a place of place of positivity. I don't know, because that's not where I came from. I came from a terrible place of of negativity, of constantly being put down. So it undoubtedly impacts my relationships with good people. Particularly, I'm talking about with my husband. I love him very much, and I know I can trust him, that I don't need to be guarded around him. But my initial response to him and all of his unconditional love and nurturing gestures, I'm always like, what's the ulterior motive? Or, what are you trying to achieve here for yourself? when really he just loves me. That's it. Sometimes that's it. But we were raised in such a way that love was kind of like love. I'm putting in quotes because it certainly was not love, but it was a bargaining chip, like everything with narcissists. They seek to manipulate people through love and genuine emotions that other people feel. Narcissists are incapable of feeling genuine love. So for them, it's just a strategy. It's just a way that it's something that they can hang over your head or dangle that carrot or entice you with. As a small child growing up in that type of toxic environment with a narcissistic parent, we are indefinitely, like, as children, it's just a natural inclination to want to help your parent, to want to earn your parents' approval and all of that. So we come into this toxic, wicked, dysfunctional dynamic with just these inherent vulnerabilities that we're just born with. And the narcissist exploits these things, exploits you as a child. And I'm beside myself. I just find it so disgusting. And there's so many different forms of abuse out there in the world. And this one is so damaging, and it's largely unrecognized. So I really do hope that that dynamic changes. And I'm thrilled to be a part of, the awareness, bringing awareness to this horrific injustice out there. These poor children that are being abused by their narcissistic parents, that are raised in a toxic environment. The impact is so far reaching, so long lasting, and I do believe that it manifests physically, like myself in the wheelchair here. Where? Can you see it? No, there it is. In this wheelchair, I feel that trauma manifests itself physically. I can't wait to, at some point, I'm definitely going to turn a lot of attention to this issue, because I find that so many people, so many of us victims, suffer physically because of this narcissistic abuse, because we have been emotionally traumatized. And myself, I do not process emotions in the proper way. I was not taught how to do this because my narcissistic mother was always trying to keep the attention on her. So if I ever felt some type of way, or if I was sad, or I wanted to cry, or I was angry, any of that stuff, I was taught to push it down, suppress it, and ultimately it manifests in my body physically. So that's my situation, I think. But in terms, what my point of this video is that we are so alone. Like, when you're raised by a narcissistic parent, you're ultimately abandoned and neglected and dismissed, and all of these wicked narcissistic tactics are employed on you as a child, and you're defenseless and you're vulnerable, and it sucks. Like, as an adult, I'm almost 40 years old, I'm just trying to come to terms with all of this stuff. I think back about things and how alone I was, like, and it all really, and I'm learning this a lot. Draw me a comment if this is your experience. But a lot of people that I speak to, things really started to come to a head when they started college, or in their young 20s, or around that age group. I myself, when I went to college, I was so thrilled to get the hell out of that toxic household, that pathological narcissistic space. So I couldn't wait to go to school. I couldn't wait to live there. And I did, But that's when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease. I was 20 years old when I was diagnosed. 20? Yeah. I was just about to turn 21. I was diagnosed in May of 2001, and I was going to be 21 in September of 2001. But I've spoken to so many people that have, suffered physical consequences of this abuse at that time in their lives when they were in their young 20s. I think back to like high school, that they didn't show up to like my volleyball games. They might have come to one or two of my soccer games freshman year. But, I made varsity volleyball. I was doing great, and I was very involved, and they did not care. My toxic duo, I refer to them, the toxic parents. And I had an older sibling, an older brother that hated me because he was triangulated against me. He was the golden boy, he was the flying monkey. He never acknowledged any of my accomplishments or my achievements. He did not come to any of my college volleyball games. I did volleyball in college as well. I joined a sorority. I was involved in so many things. I had so much to be proud of. I got my master's degree in psychology, and I specifically remember this as well. When I was graduating with my degree, I was like, are we going to have a party? And I think the narcs were finally like, yeah, because any excuse they have to like show off or have a party or act, to assert their fake facade, they were always into that. So, but anyway, I just think back and I think how alone I was. Like I was arrested when I was like 20 years old for a DUI. It turned out to be a baby DUI. But at the end of the day, I called my cousin. Like I've never like relied on these people. I've never I've wanted so desperately to, and I know how that feels. You want so badly to just have a mom or a dad that you can go to with anything. They're supposed to be your ride or die, and they're not at all. When I got my period, I called my cousin. My narc mother was at work, shopping, because it was always an ulterior motive. She always did something to get something for herself. So she had a part-time job back in the day, and I'm sure it was multi-purpose. Like she wanted money. She also wanted to get the heck away from me and my brother. She didn't want to be a mom. So all that stuff. But this video today is about how profoundly alone and neglected and abandoned children of narcissistic parents are left to feel. And there's no resolution, there's no remorse, they don't care. We need to seek recovery and healing from ourselves, from our own efforts, because these people are never going to show remorse. They're never going to admit to any faults or wrongdoings. They're incapable of doing that because they're narcissists. So thanks for tuning in. Throw me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. That would be awesome. I appreciate each one of you. Hang in there. Hopefully we're getting through this coronavirus thing. I live in New Jersey, so it's one of the top states. So I hope it's better elsewhere. It's a nightmare. Anyway. Alright, you guys. I love you all. We're bumped and we're bruised, but more than anything, we're blessed because we have an insight, appreciation for one another, compassion that we would not have otherwise. We're striving to be the polar opposite of these narc abusers. Yes, we have a ton of issues, but we're navigating through them. Doing it together. God bless you guys.